And it was in that moment where I thought, I might just coach. I don't think I can do MMA again. I think I'm too sore. It can be a really awkward night for me. I switch on, I can make it the easiest night work of my life.
Molly, welcome back to BT Sport. How are you?
Adam, I'm all right, lad. I'm really good. All the better for you asking me if I'm okay.
It's nice to see your smiling face. I was just doing a little bit of research, obviously, to try and think of a different angle for our conversation today, because we've had so many over the years. And it's just over 10 years since you wrote that email to Next Gen.
Yeah.
And said, just been watching this last called Ronda Rousey on the telly.
Yeah.
I fancy doing a bit. How's your MMA journey been over that decade?
Oh, Jesus, tonight it's been like this, hasn't it? I know at February 23rd, 2013, I made a reel of my 10 years in MMA, and it wasn't just the highlights, you know what I mean? I think I finished on Erin Blanchfield with her hands in the air. Oh, and then it was like a picture of me being John Lennon in New York, the famous, with the flipping the bird, but I won't do that now. But yeah, I feel like in my mind I've probably overachieved. From what I've expected to happen. I feel many people may say, well, you've overachieved, but they probably wouldn't know the backstory, how hard it was to come from where I've come from to achieve what I've done. And I don't know, I've set myself up well, and I've just tried dead hard, haven't I, Adam? Dead hard. So I'm reaping the rewards of my hard work. And it's weird, because I hear Conor McGregor say this, I think maybe in one of his last interviews, it feels like he's only just getting going. I feel like I don't feel like I'm near the end, I don't feel like I'm near my peak. I feel like I'm at a good level now, and I'm probably going to push on.
I know it's 10 years, obviously, but does it feel 10 years from that email?
No, because I think I've probably lost 2 or 3 to injury, 2 to COVID, really, do you know what I mean, or a year and a half to COVID, so it's probably a good solid 6 years of or nearly 7 active years of competition. I don't know what I'd do without MMA. I can't really remember life too much before I was a full-time athlete. And I'm not even thinking about what I'm going to do after, but there's still a lot of fight in the old dog yet, I think. So.
How do you reflect in particular then on the last 12 months? On 2022 in particular, because you've just gone like that and that.
Yeah.
2022 is probably the epitome of all that, isn't it?
I think, yeah, if you put, I don't know, it's just like, it's my motto, it is, do you know what I mean? It's just like, I get every single thing that I want, and then I get the real, in terms of like financial stability, I get good sponsors, I get the respect of the public and the general public, and the notoriety of what I deserve for my time saved. And then the moment to cap it all off, it just goes tits up, and then I'm just like, oh, and then I feel worse than I've ever felt on a loss. I felt like it was well worse than UFC Liverpool. It was just tough. I really struggled to smell the roses at the end of the year. I remember you sent me a really lovely message and it put things into perspective. And I feel like I'm very blessed in the fact that most of the time when you lose, they say, like, be careful, you'll see who your mates are. Like, I had more people message me when I lose than when I win that I know. So that's a really nice thing, do you know what I mean? But I felt like come the end of last year, I had to forget, like, meatball. I had had enough of MMA and my own mental state and the public, and I just needed to be me for a minute, do you know what I mean? And where's my resolve? How do I rectify this feeling, this grief, like not achieving what you're supposed to achieve? I'm not going to liken myself to an Olympic athlete chasing gold, but I can pretty much feel it's like being like Dina Asher-Smith running an Olympic 100-meter final and not getting gold. You're like, oh, that was my whole life dream, do you know what I mean? So, yeah, it was a great year, really, but it just ended with just sour taste in my mouth, do you know what I mean?
That message that you just referred to me sending you was born off seeing you. And I'm going to let people into what happened. obviously I came up to see Paddy in the build-up to his Jared Gordon fight, and you came into the gym.
It's the first day I'd walked back in the gym since I lost.
Yeah, and listen, I think we've got a good relationship, and you've got a great relationship with a lot of people in there, but it was a very different Molly that walked into that gym. It was quiet, you were away, you didn't really want to engage in conversation. Yeah. Hence sending you the message saying, "You all right? Is everything?"
Yeah. I think I was just like, I was embarrassed and ashamed. Yeah, it's a lot. You live in your worst nightmare every time you have to meet someone for the first time since you've lost, because you have to explain again and again. And I seen you and Nick, and I'm not sure if it was like Countdown or whoever was in for Patrick, and I was like, oh, I have just picked the wrong day to come in today, do you know what I mean? So that was just like a bit of a rough one, I think.
Why? Because I want people to understand the mentality of a fighter. Because the highs, everybody can understand the highs, you just know.
Well, you see, I've knocked someone out, I'm jumping on Dana White, it's like, ah!
Exactly.
Yeah.
But nobody sees the lows. Yeah. Obviously, social media is rife with people commenting on whatever they want to comment on. But it's the way you deal with it, it's the way that you process it, what goes on in between your ears. So talk to me about that, because nobody sees that.
I feel like I'm really honest and probably overshare a lot on my feelings. And I just felt like I'd given all I had in spades, like I'd give everything, and I got the worst performance of my career. So I just felt like, just like asking the higher power, like, what have I done to deserve this? Because it just goes to show, like, hard work and determination and willingness to apply yourself doesn't always mean you're going to get the result you deserve. So I was sat there every day. I can't tell you how bad it was. I was going to sleep, and some days I'd wake up and I forgot that I lost. And I'd wake up and I was like, and then 10 minutes later, I'd be like, because you feel like a failure. You feel like you've let the world down. Everyone wants to tell you about yourself, so it probably wouldn't be as tough if the world doesn't give it to you. Do you know what I mean? But that's the path I chose to walk, so I've just got to take it on the chin. But some days I'd wake up and think I'd won. Do you know what I mean? I'll say if I'd been out with my mates and we'd have a few scoops, and then I'd wake up and I'd have visualised dreams like I'd knocked her out with a spinning elbow, and just these dreams I'd always had, and it didn't happen, and then it brings you straight back to reality, and it really feels like someone's died. Like, you're literally grieving this moment that you can't have. And I think the way in which I processed it was, don't continue, not that it did, but don't do anything that's going to make you feel worse. I had a party for all the success that we'd had over the years, which was like, it was nice to see how many people came to that. And then I didn't really drink again. I think I might have had a couple of gins when I got engaged, but I didn't drink. I didn't put myself in a place where I was going to be negative. I didn't eat rubbish food. I stayed at home and I nested. I think the word is I was just cooking every day, making like everything from scratch, and just like I simplified my life, and I took myself away from being meatball, and I started to really like feel good for that. I stepped away from weapons down, gloves up, because it was just a lot of weight, extra weight and baggage to carry, and I was just like, I'm just going to help a little bit less in different ways. Like, I can't be the face of something if I can't look after myself. I can't save everyone else. I coached. I was coaching the national team, getting them ready for the World Championships. And it was in that moment where I thought, I might just coach. I don't think I can do MMA again. I think I'm too sore. And honestly, I didn't train till mid-January from November. I just didn't. I couldn't. And then when I started coaching again, I was like, maybe I can do this. And I remember over Christmas I was in Tenerife and I was getting the itch, and then I got the call for London, March, Leon's card. And I said, Graham, I've never done this before, but can I ring you back after my holiday? I went, absolutely. And I think I rang him on the 2nd of January, said, I'm not ready to shoot back into another fight camp. Like, I need time to grow and learn and be better, not just continuously nursing an injury, pushing on, like being at the forefront of the media and the rigmarole that this all has. Like, I just need to be sound in my mind. And he said, yeah, I'll ring Mick, I'll tell him. And I wasn't expecting it to go that way, because I've never said like no before. And then the 10th anniversary, this day that we're talking about, get a contract sent through. June 10th, you're fighting this opponent. And I was just, you should have seen the smile on my face. I was like, yes, I'm ready. And ultimately, it actually got changed to the London that we're like prepping for now. But I was just like, I'm ready to go now. And I've never done that in my life. I've never looked after myself when I've needed it the correct way. I think I've just always pushed through the pain, and like, because that's all fighters know how to do. But I thought, just slow down. Like Graham Boylan says, you haven't worked this whole life to get to this point and to not like it. I said, you're right, yeah. You're right, boss.
Can I talk about Ellis for a minute?
Yes, you can.
How much do you think her being in your life and...
I feel like I'm going to cry.
Well, I think it's an important thing, because I think a lot of people that watch your documentary that obviously went out on BT, they've seen the struggle that you've been through. They've seen everything that you've had to deal with, relationships and what have you. And listen, I'm privileged enough to have met her and been around her and seen the energy that you two have together. And
she just takes the piss out of it, doesn't she?
Yeah, but how beautiful that is.
Yeah.
How much her being in your life has enabled you to get to this point that you're at right now?
I've got a friend who used to play for England. She plays for Everton. She's called Tony Duggan. And we was out on Mother's Day last year, I think, or was this last year? It was after the first elbow, I think, and she went, do you think you would have got that with so-and-so? When I was with her, because she didn't like the other person who used to be with her. I was like, absolutely not. I feel like I've finally found a match who can intellectually push me. She tightens the screws and steadies the ship when the storm comes. Someone who's not jealous of what I have to do and understands I have to do it. And it took us a long time to get together, because she knew she was going to have to put her life's goals on hold until my career was finished, which I think is very, it's very admirable of someone to do that, because I don't think I could. And she just provides a safe space, like that's home, and just makes life, I feel like a mushroom. No, sorry guys, it's been a long day. Yeah, it just provides me probably a love I've never received from anyone else, really, I think. So it's a very safe space to be, and through the good days and the bad, she's got me. And I feel like before the rocket took off for me and Patrick and Next Gen, she was there. And yeah, she's seen me have to go through the ups and the lows, and she's not wavered or faltered, you know what I mean? She's my rock. So I think it's important to be able to fall back on someone and have that support, because you'll have seen me fight weeks before dealing with like a lot, not even just like relationships, like friendships, work, everything. It's a lot when you've got to go into that. Do you know what I mean? So to have like a steady home life is... It's
the aftermath. What my take on it is the aftermath, the highs, the lows, whatever they may be. It's when you come away from all this, what do you go back to?
I've got 2 little dogs and a fiancé, do you know what I mean? So
come on then, romance. Tell me what happened in January.
January 1st, she said to me a couple of months before, I've got this feeling you're going to ask me to marry you. And I went white. I went, what? And she went, yeah. And I was, do you know what I mean? I was planning it. And she went, just so you know, I'm not ready. Because she like freaks out. I went, do you want to move in with me? And she's like, and it took her about 3 or 4 months to get over that. And then when we moved in, she was still weird for a bit, you know what I mean? And then I think when she thought about this, I think it just proper freaked her out. So I thought I'll do it on January 1st, because it's our anniversary. And she, what's it called? She said, no, don't you dare, blah, blah, blah. So I thought, whatever. And yeah, I won't do it. And then when we was in Tenerife, and we've gone with all our mates to go and do, like, book some, like, jet skis and all that. They was going, don't you want that, the yacht anymore on the sunset thingy? And she just looked, and she knew. Me and Michaela went, oh, no, we don't need it now. And she walked away and started crying and rang her mum. And she was like, I can't believe I said no, I'm an idiot. So mum rang me and she went, don't you tell Alice I've told you this. She said, do it. So me and my friend Michaela, his son Frankie's like 12, and Frankie, come with me, lad. He went, all right. So I told our mate, I'm just going out with Frankie for a bit, and he went and helped me go and pick the ring. And Alice's nanny passed away on Paddy's fight week, and that was like her hero, her heroine. And she had an emerald ring that had like diamonds around it. I was searching up and down everywhere in all these jewellery shops, and I'd just seen it, and I'd just seen it's her nan's ring, the same exact ring. So I got that, and then on New Year's Day I just said to her, like, I can't even say it, but I just promised her nan before her nan passed away I'd look after her forever and I wouldn't let her down. And I just kind of said stuff like that. And she was in shock again. And the whole night she was really awkward. And I was like, have I done something wrong? And then the next day, I think, because we knew we had to tell people, and I think we were scared of how the media was going to be about it. And I put a post online, and within 15 minutes, it was over. Every newspaper in Liverpool, every media publication was talking about it, and it was nothing but positivity. And then I think when you've had negative experiences about being gay, you get a bit scared in that, because you're not trying to force it on people. It's not that kind of thing, but it can still be a bit nerve-wracking, do you know what I mean? So, yeah, I felt free then, and I was literally speaking to journalist to Sky Sports out there, and he's like, how do you feel? I was like, just a bit more at peace, do you know what I mean? Yeah. So, yeah. Big do? Not anytime soon. I'm going to Big Do this weekend now, the Baddies wedding. Be walking down the aisle. Din, din, din. I'm only messing.
Listen, congratulations.
Thank you.
Honestly, it's beautiful to see you now in this space, of which then allows you to come and do all the things that we want to see you doing once again come July. Stolyarenko, talk to me about it.
Shocked when I got the call. I mean, I think I normally tell you and Nick when I've got a fight and a fight date. You know, I've never turned an opponent down. I was just shocked that she struggled to make the weight above. So why is she coming down? But I think it's like she knows she can't make a good run at the title like that. So it's an educated thing. I don't know, to drop the weight, but stylistically it's a tough one for me. A black belt in the gi, does a lot of IBJJF competitions, wins them all. And I feel like Mick's being like, just shut the fans up and go and have a go with someone who carries weight in terms of weight, and I don't know, they don't just give out black belts, do you know what I mean?
No, she's a talented kid.
She's
she's
good. She's been in the Ultimate Fighter. She's got a bit of history about it, and yeah, it can be a really awkward night for me. I switch on, I can make it the easiest night work of my life. I walk into her stuff, I'll make it the hardest night of my life, do you know what I mean?
But in this headspace,
in
this happy headspace,
I just feel calm. I just feel...
But this is when you do your best work.
Yeah, I think...
When you're not erratic, when you're not all over.
Oh my God, yeah, when... Like, sometimes you get that excited when you come from nothing. And
the second performance last year, for example.
I was like this.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean? And it's nothing that's going anywhere. I feel like the pressure's gone. I really didn't do anything wrong other than in that last fight camp for Erin. Then she got off before I did. And that is that. And it was a long time. It took me a long time to get over that, Adam.
But that's elite sport.
I know. And the thing is we've come back to camp. I went away to America for a month last month. Yep. I was in Cali for 2 weeks. I was in Texas for 2 weeks. And I thought, go and get a bit of pre-camping before you come home and you've got time to. And I'm working so hard on my strength and conditioning to be a bigger meatball. Do you know what I mean? Like, I've been getting called lean ball, but I don't know, I've had a real rough shoulder. I think you knew the extent of my injuries going into the last, not the last fight, the two before, and I think I can bench press. I haven't been able to bench press for like 18 months, you know what I mean? I can chins. I've just got a lot going for me at the minute, and I just can't wait to fight Adam. I really just want to, not even just silence people, because the outside noise means nothing, but just walk out to me Jamie Webb's there, get the fans on one, and no matter, I could open the fight, I could walk out first, I could walk out last, it does not matter. I just want to kill. Not kill, I just want to win. Do you know what I mean?
The, obviously you've got plenty of other now business interests, and I can see that you're sporting the shirt there of the new venture that is coming everybody's way. But this is who you are. What we're talking about now.
Yeah.
This is always going to be there, isn't it? It's always going to be somewhere inside it. No matter how big or small that flame is, it's always going to be, you're a fighter.
Yeah. I feel like the UFC pay us, so you can't just leave the money in the bank. Like, you should be smart with your money. Inflation's going up, savings mean nothing, so invest. And I'm learning on the job. I'm being around people who are highly educated and smart in business, and I'm choosing to just try and, where I'm from, they don't tell you what business models are and how to attain this. But I'm teaching myself and I'm learning myself, and yeah, I'm just trying to break generational curses, secure my future. And we'd like, a pandemic could come again, last longer, and I could not fight. I could break my leg, I could like, I don't know what's coming next, and it's putting strategies in place to make sure that I'm going to be okay after all of this, because I'm not going back to a 9 to 5. I'm not going back to subway shifts, do you know what I mean? I'd like to just keep coaching, and obviously, you know, I'd always like to finish on the boxing, but that doesn't come, it doesn't come. I've got a lot of fights left on this contract, and I've got a lot of work left to do to try and touch that belt.
Well, I'm sure I can speak on behalf of a lot of boys and girls that are taking up martial arts now. You are the inspiration, you're the reason why they're taking to the mats. And I'm sure they're going to be rooting for you come July 22nd to do their thing. I'm
going to have to do like a new special move, so my PlayStation character gets higher stats, aren't I? Yeah. So.
Listen, it's great to see you in this space.
Thank you, mate.
It's good to see you back.
Cheers, mate.
I'm looking forward to see you do you think.
Thanks, lads.